Hoya YouTubers, it's Andu. I am on day 4 of my Novembeard. If you don't know what that is, wait till the end of the month and there'll be a video explaining all of it. A little more of a vlog, video blog thing. Pushing that aside, 4 months ago, 5, something like that, a friend of mine came to me saying he wanted a particular type of blaster. He had 2 that had features that he wanted them perfectly combined. I thought it was kind of silly. I didn't quite see the functionality that he was seeing, that he wanted in it. I didn't understand. Later on, I eventually figured out what he meant, what he's going for, and it's a great thing. He wanted a Triad combined with a Firestrike. That is, he wanted the handle and ergonomics and priming method of a Firestrike with the head and the functionality of a Triad. So, after many setbacks, quite a bit of time, months of just brain freeze, going nowhere, I have finally finished this blaster, and I'm delivering it to the commissioner in probably just half an hour or so. And the result is this. I call it the Triad Fire. This is an almost perfect integration of the 2 blasters. It didn't come out quite as clean exactly as I had hoped. Some of the pictures I put on my Facebook page when these were just dry fit together were a little, the seam here was a little closer. That's just because I put a little too much epoxy putty in there and it wouldn't compress all the way. So, but the point is, oh man, this is a cool blaster. I actually think it looks cooler than the Firestrike does out of the box. It looks more like a real blaster. So as you can see, this is essentially just the handle and body of a Firestrike and the head of a Triad. Now at first that seemed like it would be relatively simple to do, and I ran into several problems with it. The biggest problem with the entire thing, well, there are 2. The first was connecting this head to this blaster, shell and body and internals, and still being able to take it apart again, not making it permanent. Additionally, the real big problem was connecting the plunger to the Triad head, because the air from the Triad comes up underneath, and you can't put it in from the back or it won't work. When you get to modding Triads, you'll understand what I'm talking about, and I'll talk about that a little bit at the end of the video as well. But anyway, I had to redirect airflow from this plunger down, under, and then back up. And I tried a number of things that failed before I finally came up with something that I hadn't considered before and was kind of crude, but it worked. So anyway, this blaster primes just like a Firestrike, and you pull the trigger and it fires, and it has the same functionality as a Triad. I don't think I need to explain that too much. I will anyway, in case any of you aren't real familiar. You can put 3 darts in the head of a Triad. As long as you don't remove the air restrictors, which would turn this into a shotgun, it would fire all 3 at once. With the air restrictors in place, it will fire 1 dart at a time in sequence. If you only have 1 or 2 darts in here, it will always fire the correct barrel. So he has 3 shots in this blaster, along with the dart holder holding 2 extra shots. I would have loved to do what Awesome Nerfer Kui did, and put a 3rd dart holder in here, but that's where the air duct went, and so you can actually see I tried to make this as seamless an integration as possible, but the one thing that I didn't do was put the little plastic lenses back in here to cover it up. You can kind of see the guts of the blaster through there. I doubt you can with this camera, but in person you can. You can see the air pipe in there, and I kind of like that feature, and I didn't see the point in plugging those holes up anymore. You can even see it actually from the front right there. So I'm sure you could still, there's no longer a light of any sort in here, but you could definitely rig up with this trigger. The battery case is still in here and everything. You could still put LEDs, a custom flashlight in here, something like that. You could even, I just discovered, last night after I put this all together, there is room, when you chop the back of this trigger down, to put a 3rd dart holder in the handle. Because the airflow is the air pipe is so small, and because it is such, first of all, you've already got a bunch of different bends the air has to go through in this head in order to get to the different barrels. Well, in addition to that, you've got all this extra resistance from the multiple bends in this tubing, and internally those bends are not very clean. They've got rough edges from multiple pieces going together to create the U-shaped pipe that I needed. There's a lot of air resistance here. So in order to make up for that, I put in a 7-kilogram spring, twice the original strength from Orange Modworks into here, and that was just to brute force engineering, make up for the fact that I had, all the air resistance going from the plunger to the Triad head. Now, because night finders and Firestrikes with heavy springs tend to start showing stress around the ring here as they bend and flex under the strain, you can see I filled the key ring as well as much of the plunger rod with all the spaces in there with epoxy putty. I tried something different compared to my normal PC7 epoxy paste, which takes days to cure. I went with PC Plumbers, which sticks to ABS and PVC just fine, so it's perfect for nerfing. It solidifies in about 5 minutes, and it cures within about an hour. Definitely hard cured within 24 hours, definitely. So it worked really well. It was much easier to work with. Anyway, I reinforced this plunger rod as much as I can, but it still doesn't have the velocity performance that I would like. I'm considering this a prototype. The airflow could be improved greatly, and the fact that this, you've got this high mass, all this extra mass in this rod, really, the stock spring, this thing probably won't perform that well at all. The 7-kilogram spring makes it perform adequately, but this is by no means, in my opinion, a high-performance blaster. There's a lot of room for improvement, and it's got a lot of quirks. For instance, these two top darts are pushed all the way in. You'll notice it didn't fire. The solution to that problem is actually quite simple. I'm thinking there's just enough resistance in the airflow that having them snugged all the way back in there, these top two barrels don't want to fire. So literally just a couple of millimeters. You have to pull the darts forward. Just a few millimeters, I'm not even kidding. And this is something the commissioner is just going to have to deal with. It fires. The third barrel tends to fling out a little bit, but just pull it out a couple of millimeters. There you go. And something else really cool about this, it's not common that you find a Nerf blaster pistol that actually twirls really well. Trick, you see Drac do every once in a while with his blasters. Well, it actually twirls really, really well. You don't want to do that while it's primed, of course, because you get yourself shot in the face. I haven't done that with this blaster, but I've done it with others before. So there isn't too much else to say about this. I will be putting videos up about this blaster in case any of you want to duplicate it. I posted pictures while I was finishing this blaster on my Facebook page, and I got a tremendous amount of interest and support from the handful of people that actually follow my Nerf page. Normally, I get a comment from or a like from a handful I've gotten from a gentleman named Ben. I don't want to mispronounce your last name, Ben. And then, of course, Awesome Nerfer Qui. He's been with me for a while, giving me a lot of support. Shout out to you, man. You're cool. I really appreciate all you've done for me online, and giving me someone to talk to about my ideas. Thanks. And I always get a like from him when I post content. But this blaster, in particular, something that wasn't even my idea, generated a lot of interest from many of the people on there that follow my page. So what I've done is, as I usually do, but I even took this a step further, I exhaustively documented everything I did while making this blaster in video format. So what I'm going to do is post a series of videos. These will be in a couple of weeks because I'm focusing on my schoolwork right now. But when they go up, I will have video how-tos covering everything, including all of the stuff that I attempted failed, the stuff that didn't work out. So I'm going to show you everything, the stuff that worked, the stuff that didn't, how to make everything go together. Additionally, I documented everything with pictures. So I will also be doing a write-up, posting it on Nerf Haven or some other Nerf forum. I haven't decided yet. My first online write-up. So that will be available. You know, keep following my channel. You see that. Go to like my Facebook page. Same name as my channel here, Andu Majomi. Also Andu Nerf. You really can't miss it. If you want to make one of these, the resources will be out there. You'll be able to follow this. And there's a lot you can do with this blaster. This is incredibly customizable. With some stronger springs, maybe. You know, you can put lights in this thing. Here I've got a Triad. I've seen someone integrate a Triad into the dart holder area, but they always left this in place. Well, just imagine if you had two Triads integrated into a Firestrike. Kind of ugly, but you can do it. There's a lot of room for modding potential from this base product here. And I'm really looking forward to doing more with it in the future. The coolest thing about this, I'm sorry that I'm rambling so much. I had very little sleep last night. I pulled an all-nighter with homework. Bear with me, though. The coolest thing about this is we've learned, due to online patents, that the Firestrike was designed to be dual-wielded. I don't have another one here to demonstrate that, but you can see this hook is designed to catch on the ring here. So you can use one blaster, pretend that this is a Firestrike, to prime it. And then you could stick the handle in the other one and pull it back and it would prime. The problem is you have to reload between each shot. There are these dart holders here, so what you can do is, let's see here, prime, load, fire, prime, load, and fire. However, I almost feel like this is how the Firestrike should have come off the factory floor, because now, at some point, I'll make two of these for myself, and I'll do a video on dual wielding these, because you have 3 shots. You just have to go pull, fire, pull, fire, pull, fire, pull, fire. You got 3 shots. You got the extra dart holders. This is a very cool blaster, in my opinion, and I didn't even come up with it. I just made it a reality. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you out into the hallway. We're going to do a quick range comparison between the Triad and this Triad fire, and I might even take a video segment of meeting with the commissioner. We'll see. Out to the hall. Range test. Triad versus Triad fire. Triad first. I'm going to move the camera a little bit so you have a better view. I'll be firing from directly above the camera. Now, TriadStrike. Wow. Can't really count that one, can we? Shooting from the hip ain't easy. There's the one that bounced back. I think one of these came out of the... Actually, no, these two came out of the Triad. They bounced off the walls, of course. These two came out of the TriadStrike, right about where the Triad shots would have landed had they not hit these pillars. And then this longest range came out of the Triad. So it seems that while the TriadStrike doesn't have quite the same punch, it doesn't have the same exit velocity as the Triad starts, they do seem to fly straighter. I don't know why that is. Triads, or like any other Nerf blaster, particularly the Maverick, different units have different quirks. But think with a stronger spring, I could definitely compete with a Triad for overall performance. As is, it's just a little under par to the Triad as far as actual performance and range, but I don't think that'll be a problem for the commissioner. He's a very big guy. I call him Gojira, which is Japanese for Godzilla, I do believe. And he's a very aggressive zombie, shall we say. Very aggressive player in general. He likes to get up close, so range isn't critical for him. As far as the viewers are concerned, your name is Gojira, which is Godzilla. Ready?
Alright.
There you go.
That is awesome. And all three fire?
They do. Now, as I said, the top two barrels, you literally have to pull the darts forward just a couple of millimeters. Just a little bit, just a hair. And they'll fire just fine. The range isn't overly impressive.
Oh, that fire's pretty good.
But I know you like to fight at close range anyway.
Right.
I'll do some research. If I find a stronger spring, I'll let you know, because it can handle it. That's full of epoxy putty. It's not going to bend at all. It's a quirky blaster. I wish it was more perfect, but
I think it's pretty good. I think it's great, actually.
So, cool beans.
Now I just need another one.
So you can dual wield them?
Yes. When you told me that, I was like, well, that sucks. I only have one now.
Well, I am going to be... So, that's the TriadStrike. I know this video is on the long side. I'm sorry for that. You know I like to talk, and the tireder I get, or shall I say, no, the more tired I get, the more gabby I get. So, I'm very pleased with this. It is definitely a prototype. It has a ways to go as a concept. Keep following my channel. I've never done this in a video before, but I'm going to ask, if you like what you see, please subscribe and share my channel with friends. The more viewers I get, the more I'll be able to actually do cool stuff like this, and the more incentive I'll have to create things like this and share them with you and tell you how to copy them, and maybe even how to go beyond that and do your own thing. So, follow my channel. Like I said, subscribe, share, comment, drop the video a like. I do enjoy reading comments. I don't respond to trolls, just FYI. I will be posting several how-tos on this in the future, probably in 2 or 3 weeks. Probably no more than 2. There'll be videos on how to do this, how to make this blaster, as well as I said, a thread on Nerf Haven. More likely than not, I'll put the link to that in the description below, and possibly also up here in an annotation. Thank you very much for watching, everybody, and keep your stick on the ice.